Welcome. My name is Lauren and I'm a curriculum developer and tutor at NoteFull.com. You may remember a couple of weeks back, Matthew, one of our master instructors, provided a review of one of our great students' speaking responses here on YouTube. And so from here on forward, we're going to be providing the same great type of video where we review the work that was submitted that week. So we're only going to be focusing on one student, and we're going to be focusing on one question type in general skills so that all of you out there can really learn and master some of the strategies you need to pass the TOEFL. So if you're interested in submitting for next week or any week from here on out, be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video where we're going to explain exactly how you're going to be able to do that. So for now, let's go ahead to our review. So let's take a look at this week's question. When looking for a job, what do you consider more important? The joy you will feel while doing the job or the money you will earn? Use specific reasons and examples to explain your answer. So this is a good question, and some of you NoteFull students probably recognize it from within your system. So let's take a look at a student's essay right now. We're going to examine some of the content. We're going to examine some of the ways in which the student can build. And so right now what I want you to do, if you haven't already, is pause this video, grab a notebook and a pen, because you're going to want to jot down some of these great tips for this particular type of essay. Okay, so this is one of our great student submissions based off of the question that we just took a look at. I first want to draw your attention to the word count. This essay is at a word count of 342 words, which is a really great place to start. But for those of you who are familiar with NoteFull strategy, you know that we recommend students try to shoot up their word count to about 500 words. You know, of course we want to gradually build it up to that point. We want to get it up to 400, then 450, and then to 500. So it's not something we can do overnight, but it's definitely going to be a goal that you're going to want to shoot for as well. So this review is going to talk about ways in which you can do that. The first thing I wanted to highlight was actually the size of the introduction paragraph. And I'm highlighting this because I want you to see the difference, or the similarity I should say, between the size of this paragraph and the size of the first body paragraph. You may be wondering why this is even important. Why am I looking at the size? And the reason why this is important is because it shows me that the student is spending far too much time developing and crafting the introduction paragraph. And this is important because if you're spending so much time on your introduction, you're going to have very little time to expand your body paragraphs. And this is where a lot of the really great work takes place. Your vocabulary expansion, the details you present, your grammatical complexity, just the overall richness of your essay, and your ability to earn a top score takes place in these body paragraphs. So you're going to want to shift the amount of time you spend there. Remember, this is not like an academic essay that you would write for university, so don't waste time trying to put in so much effort creating a beautiful, creative introduction paragraph. Get it done as quickly as you can so that you can spend more time on those body paragraphs. The next thing I'd like to talk about is this student's vocabulary. I've circled a couple of phrases which I'd like you all to take a look at. The first thing I wanted to discuss was the use of automatically increases. I'm highlighting this here because I just thought it was a great example of a student using adverbs. So just remember that you don't just have to limit yourself to nouns and verbs. You can also really build your word count and show your lexical range, which means your vocabulary range, by using adverbs and adjectives. And this is a great example of that. The next thing I wanted to highlight was actually the two phrases, a garment factory and business as a fashion designer. Now, I've highlighted these two because they kind of fall under this category, which is really strong detail, right? So the student is using a lot of specific elements, which tells me that the student is also telling a story that is based in fact, right? That comes from a truthful place. And you know, or you should know if you are a NoteFull student, that this is something we recommend consistently. Remember that your stories that you tell, your examples, they should be based in fact, and this will help you really demonstrate a wider range of vocabulary, stronger detail overall. And again, it's all in service of expansion. The next thing I wanted to talk about was that last phrase, which I've circled, seemed depressed. Now, I've highlighted this one because I wanted you guys to see how this student is great at showing feelings. And I think that this is also a really powerful way to continue forward and keep expanding. This student can push it a little bit further, I think, but you get the point. Using feelings to expand your story and expand your word count, expand your vocabulary range is also great. Don't just talk about what happened to prove your point. Tell me some of the elements about how you felt in that story, or how the people in your story felt. So now that we've taken a closer look at this student's work, I wanted to highlight the core points we discussed. The first thing we discussed was word count, and you remember this student's word count was at 342 words, which is a great place to start, but we're going to want to build on that. So I hope that from the second point you can see one of the ways in which we can do that. Now, we didn't highlight or talk about here the way in which the student spent their time on their introduction paragraph, but I want you to remember that as well. Don't waste time on that first part, because it's the second part where the great vocabulary is going to come out and the details are going to come out, and that's where you're really going to expand that word count. So I would rate this essay at a 21 to a 23 out of a 30. And this is a great starting point, just like that word count, but we're going to want to try to shoot it up further. Most of you are looking for higher scores. Now, some of you may be asking, is it just because of the word count? And it's not, right? It definitely has to do with grammar and mechanics and other elements of writing. So one of the fun activities which I thought would be great for you guys to do today is actually comment below some of the things that you think that needed improvement about this essay, in addition to the things we discussed in the review. Another thing that I think will be really fun is if you guys create your own versions of these essays and also post them in the comments below, so everybody out there can take a look and you can really start using some of the strategies we discussed today. So some of you may be asking out there, how do I submit my work for next week's video? And the way you're going to want to do that is by using the link I'm going to post below. This link will redirect you to NoteFull forums, which is a service that not everybody at NoteFull knows about. Every Wednesday, a NoteFull instructor is going to post tasks for both speaking and writing, which we really encourage you guys to start participating in. We're going to select somebody's work from that particular group each week. And it might be speaking, it might be writing, so it's going to be kind of a surprise, but I want to encourage you guys, don't be shy, don't be afraid of making mistakes, because no matter what, it's all going to help all of the community out there, the NoteFull community, the TOEFL community, and all of you students who are trying to improve your scores. So that concludes our video for this week. I hope this review was helpful for you. If you have any questions, as always, contact us at studenthelp@notefull.com. And we again encourage you to submit next week. Stay tuned for next week's video, and so you can check out the next review. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again soon. Good luck.